Okay, review resolutions. Calling for a public hearing for April the 10th, 2017 on the tentative budget. Then revision of resolution regarding clerk 2 position. And if you can clarify a little bit, so everybody knows.
We're just clarifying, because she's going to be working part of the time here at Village Hall. So we're just clarifying that she can work as a clerk in any of the areas that we need work that fits into the clerk category. So that's what we're doing tonight.
Is Terry, the department head, are you okay with all this?
Well, that's management, right? So.
Okay.
That's
just been discussed, and I mean everybody's on the same page. Maybe not okay with it, but on the same page. We are under the same understanding.
I don't know. The board makes the decisions on where they want people to work.
Tax cap override, call for public hearing. That doesn't mean we're going to override the tax cap, just means that we're getting ready if we need to. Authorization to advertise for an RFP, Park Grant Administration. I'm in a very happy position to say that actually the county is taking this over, so we don't need to advertise for anything. They're going to do the administration for us. So the whole administration from this point to the end is going to be taken over by the county.
Mayor?
Free of charge.
May I ask a question and comment here on this?
Sure.
So many things have changed throughout this process here that nobody's really aware about. From the beginning, I'm pretty sure the original grant application is probably not very accurate as far as the costs. Would this be the perfect opportunity for you to educate the board and residents of this village by holding a public hearing to update everybody on the changes to the cost and components of this grant? Without public input right now, I would be making my decision based on the perceived public sentiment towards this grant instead of input well-informed residents educated by attending a properly presented public hearing. Unfortunately, this should have been done at the beginning of this process as well as throughout, as it was strongly suggested. It's not too late right now to hold one, and I believe it would be in the best interest of this grant and this administration to do so that it can be brought up to date and be well informed of what we're deciding here. And you may actually be changing people's opinion.
Thank you for your question. As a matter of fact, we had 4 meetings, open meetings, before the application was submitted. The money is pretty much the same because as much money as we asked, that's much money we got. However, and although we are not required to have a public hearing, we're not changing anything. Public hearing is only if I take the market common and make a garage out of it. If I leave the same thing, and they told us that from the grant application, we didn't have to hold a public hearing. However, I think you're right. I'm very much willing to hold an open meeting with everybody involved invited. And I can go through everything we did up to now, and I can go through everything we apply for from now on. So, as you said, everybody can be on the same page. Although, as I said before, nothing big has changed. The only thing that changed was that, happily enough for some people, there's no fence. There are some corners that are going to be next to the poles going into the park, but for some reason, the amount of money you asked for the fence was a very, very low amount. It was $50,000, and $50,000 will give us an aluminum fence. So obviously, we're not going to put aluminum fence in that park. So the fence is off the table as of the day we saw the actual prices. Just some decorative corners. But I'm very much willing, and if the board agrees, we can have an open meeting with the paper and the TV and everybody there. Okay, you want to organize something like that?
Absolutely. I just think it would be very beneficial because at this point, there may be changes that the public may totally have changed their mind based on something different, the costs, the components. So I think it's just we need to be kept up to date as well as the citizens, so thank you.
Absolutely, I'm very much willing to do that. And please, as soon as possible, you can put something like that together.
Would you be willing to have a public hearing or a
No, we
special
don't need a
meeting?
public hearing. We're going to have an open meeting.
Special meeting?
Yes,
Okay.
special meeting. A public hearing is going to need announcements, and I don't want to start going further down in time. We announce it today. You're going to organize that. We're going to announce the date, and we can take it from there.
Okay, so if it was a special meeting, I would need to have one other trustee request it from you to hold a special meeting, okay?
I'm willing to hold it, so
Okay.
there's no
Well, I
there's
just wanna
no
go
need for
through the-
trustees.
I want to go through the
Okay,
procedures.
there's no need for trustees. I'm willing to hold it if everybody's okay with that.
My comment is, I wasn't aware that there had been a change in the fence. So I think this is imperative that we discuss it openly, and if during the public portion, if somebody wanted to speak on it, they can address that. I think it's a good idea. We've been down the road long enough that if there were some changes, and it might set some people at rest, you know.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
So I would back Doug, Trustee Doug, in regards to, let's discuss it openly again, and if some people have some concerns, they can voice it during the open
No problem at all. I think
public
it's a good
portion.
idea.
Thank you.
So let's organize that. Okay.
So the resolution for,
Need to be
RFP will be tabled then?
Yeah, that's,
That's gonna make,
yeah.
okay, so make sure.
It's irrelevant at this point. Okay. All right. Then the reappointment of registrar and deputy registrar of vital statistics. You have the paper. He's this gentleman over here.
And
Nice to meet you.
And Linda. And Linda's
Linda.
Linda is the deputy, the one that works in the water department.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
And authorization to sign a national grid non-disclosure. You want to explain that?
Yeah, everybody got a copy of that last
Yeah.
week, if you're good with that?
Okay. Now I'm going to present my budget. Good evening. Tonight, I'm pleased to present to the Board of Trustees and the people of Fredonia the tentative budget for the year 2017-2018. Excuse me. In creating this budget, I once again took under consideration our current financial situation, department needs as outlined by the respective heads, discussions with trustees, and our administrator. Public input has been very valuable and appreciated as more and more people have stopped by my office to ask a question, share a concern, give me an idea on how to, or simply have a coffee. While working through this budget, I tried to be very conservative with our day-to-day operating expenses, mainly because our capital project needs are enormous. This isn't anything new, but rather the result of many years of neglect and disrepair. For a long time, the village government has been reactive rather than proactive in a sincere effort to avoid spending money. Although understandable, that only leads to bigger problems and inevitable crisis. Having said that, our overall budget increase for the year is only 1.19%, which is below the inflation rate of 1.6%. As you know, the village budget has three different funds: the general, the water, and the sewer fund. Our property taxes provide revenue for the general fund, the water rate money goes toward the water fund, and the sewer rate towards the sewer fund. These funds are not interchangeable in any way. The general fund includes everyone in the village government and administration, police and fire protection, the DPW, code enforcement, courts, parks, and cable TV. Last year, we took some small steps towards giving the people better services in a financially responsible and sustainable way. We hired 2 new DPW workers and added almost 2,000 hours of seasonal work. that help the appearance of the village as well as the morale of the whole department that's heading now into a new direction with better organization and greater accountability. At the fire department, we have some new faces, and I'm happy to report that throughout the year, our transports have been increasing steadily. Included in my budget is a proposal for a creation of the salaried fire chief position. This proposal has the support of the majority of volunteers and paid firemen, whose number will remain the same for the time being. After we decided that the shared police facility with the City of Dunkirk was not financially feasible on many fronts, we're actively looking into different options regarding a new building for our police department and every possible way to finance it. At this point, I want to mention that in my opinion, we need to hire a new police officer specifically assigned to the drug task force. We have a big drug problem in the community that we cannot afford to ignore any longer. I have not included the new officer in my budget for this year, but I would very much like to start that conversation. Next, the water fund. In my last year's budget message, I mentioned that the village has two possible choices to either join the North County Water District or continue as is, providing water for its residents. We spent $150,000 in order to hire an engineering firm that provided us with answers that in turn would help us make the right decision. After taking everything under consideration, my proposal to the board is for the village to continue course, making the necessary improvements and upgrades to the spillway and dam, estimated cost of $5.3 million. This is of course expensive, but not nearly as much as it would have been if we were to go with the North County Water District. The water rate I am proposing tonight is $1.15 per 1,000-gallon increase. I haven't forgotten the problem with the colored water that many people in our community are facing. We have hired an engineering firm to identify the problem and propose possible solutions. If it turns out to be an infrastructure problem, we won't be able to cover the expense without the help from the state. The village administrator and I had a long conference call with the New York State Environmental Facility Corporation project manager not too long ago, in which we discussed possible grants and zero to low interest financing. The conversation covered our urgent needs to upgrade the wastewater treatment plant as well. He assured us that we are on a priority list and asked us to have our applications in by mid-July. Then the sewer fund. As with almost everything else, we have been fixing problem after problem at the wastewater treatment plant, and the list keeps going longer. An engineering firm, once again, is being hired with the task to put together a timetable so we can fix and upgrade the plant in a responsible and efficient way. As I just mentioned, the state can assist us with that as well. Nevertheless, rates have to be raised, and I am proposing a $1 per 1,000-gallon increase to cover some of the expense. We simply cannot continue this way. Tonight, I'm proposing starting serious conversations with the City of Dunkirk to examine if a possible consolidation of our plants would be feasible, because I believe that such a move would be advantageous not only to our two communities, but possibly to other neighboring communities as well. This could be regionalism at its best, as a modern, efficient, and environmentally friendly plan is very important when trying to invite new businesses to our area. We can even utilize both facilities, using one for residential waste and the other for commercial and industrial. I'm very pleased to say that the county executive has assured me that he will help, especially if awarded the $20 million through the Municipal Consolidation and Efficiency Plan the county has applied for. Finally, as you know, through the tireless work of great many people, none of whom was in any way compensated by the village, we were awarded a grant in the amount of $325,000. With a minimum investment of $57,000 in cash, not to exceed $102,800 in cash and in-kind work. We will use this money to improve and upgrade the Barker Common, the central feature of the Fredonia Commons Historic District. This is not merely a beautification project, as it will address infrastructure, sidewalks, walkways, and lighting. More importantly, it is a vital first step of the Central Connections project we are working on in cooperation with the City of Dunkirk and SUNY Fredonia. In last year's budget, the board has approved $120,000 for reconstruction of the municipal parking lot by Village Hall. That project never materialized, mainly because the money was not enough to complete it. My proposal to the board is that we use part of that money as much for the grant. And for those who are worried, it won't be a fence going around. Now some more thoughts concerning this year's budget. If you go through it, you will realize there are some systemic problems built into it. We are pressed to use fund balance, our savings account, to cover some of our regular operating expenses. This is not healthy nor sustainable. Raising taxes, although an option, is not one I'm interested in, nor do I propose it. We should think of more efficient ways to deliver services without compromising their quality, and we should find a way to attract young families, young professionals, and new small businesses for our downtown area. In that spirit, allow me to offer a couple more proposals that are not included in the budget, but I think are worth exploring. I propose the creation of a position for Public Works, Wastewater Treatment, Water Purification Director. Consolidating the 3 department heads' positions in one, in effect, will give us the opportunity to offer a competitive salary to a qualified individual at very substantial and sustainable savings to the village. Second, if we are presently in talks regarding changing our street lights to LEDs with potential and sustainable savings of 60 to 70% of current cost. I'm hoping that I will bring to the board a finalized proposal before long. I'd like to thank Rick St. George, our administrator, for spending hours with me, going over every line and every detail repeatedly, helping me with put this budget together. Last, but certainly not least, I'd like to thank the department heads for their help and for sharing their expertise and respective needs with me. I want to tell you that all of our workers, police officers, firefighters, along with everyone who's working for the village, are always in my mind. I know you have families, problems, and responsibilities of your own, and that you're always doing your best. I want you to know that I understand your needs, and although many times I will not be able to cover them, I support you, and I will always have you back. Have a good night. Thank you.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I call this meeting to order. At a special meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Fredonia, duly called and held on the 20th day of March 2017 at 7:30 p.m. in the Trustees' Room, 2nd floor, Village Hall, Fredonia, New York, and public notice of the time and place of this meeting has been given to the news media and conspicuously posted in one or more designated public locations in accordance with Section 104 of the Open Meeting Law.
Whereas members of this board present at this meeting have read the official minutes of the Board of Trustees regular meeting of March 13th, 2017. Now therefore be it resolved, this board approves the minutes as entered into the official minutes, and be it resolved that the readings of the minutes be dispensed.
So, I second.
Trustee Rockman?
I'll abstain because I wasn't there.
Okay. Trustee Christina?
Yes.
Trustee Linden?
Aye.
Trustee Jones?
Abstain, I was absent.
Trustee Esser?
Yes.
It's passed. Okay, you have reports.
Okay, there are no reports tonight.
There's no correspondence. Public portion. I'd like to invite the public to, if you have any comments or any questions or any suggestions. Mr. Friedman.
I just wanted to express to the board that I'm very much in favor of pursuing this grant and moving forward with it. Apparently now we're going to have another public meeting, which I'll try and attend as well, but just wanted to express that to you guys, that I'm very much looking forward to finding out what we can do with our park and making it an improvement. So.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Anybody else?
What's his name?
Ms.
Dave
Napoli.
Friedman.
Hi, my name is Rick Napoli. I have been working in retail downtown for over 25 years, currently at the Cool Little Music Shop, my shop, which I've been there for over 8 years. I've seen Fredonia go through a lot of changes. First and foremost, I want to thank the mayor for being so transparent with this whole grant proposal for the park and all the meetings we've had. I feel she has done a really good job with informing everybody. I think the problem with the meetings, like even if we do another, is just the fact that how do we get people to come to that meeting to listen to the issues and figure out what is going to be good, or you know. But as a retailer, I lock up my door every night and I look over my shoulder and I just wish I was in a town that had more businesses, retail, and more hustle and bustle and foot traffic. And honestly, I see this grant and the ability to hopefully help the infrastructure of the park. I see it as one small step towards possibly turning things around and bringing that other retail and other shops and just traffic. People that come to my store all the time that are here dropping their son or daughter off at college or picking them up, they come in and they say, what else can we do? And I tell them what else they can do in town, and they walk around. And I want them to have a great view of our village and think of our village when it comes time to want to walk downtown and go eat or shop. And I guess in a nutshell, I just see this project as being a great stepping stone towards more things that could make our downtown nicer and more attractive to outside people, as well as those that live in the village, like myself and Dave and others. So I'm so for it. I wish you could take into consideration all the things that it can bring. Every day in my shop, I have to spend money to make money. I get that we have to spend money to bring this grant in, but I also see when you look at what we get in return for this little bit of money, and I mean every bit of money is a lot of money, but in terms of what we can get done, it's a small amount of money, and I just really hope we can see that push forward. And I'm really excited and look forward to the changes that we might see. And so thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Napoli. Anybody else? Okay, great. Resolutions.
Whereas pursuant to section 5083 of the New York State Village Law, a public hearing must be held on the tentative budget for the village fiscal year commencing June 1st, 2017, with notice of such public hearing published in the official newspaper, The Observer. Now therefore it be resolved that the Village Board of Trustees of the Village of Fredonia hereby schedules a public hearing on the 10th day of April 2017 at 7:30 p.m. at the Trustees Room, 2nd floor, Village Hall, 911 Church Street, Fredonia, New York, to receive comments on the 2017 fiscal year tentative budget, which is now in the file at the office of the village clerk of the Village of Fredonia. And be it further resolved that the village clerk is hereby directed to publish notice of said hearing pursuant to village law.
Trustee Rathman.
Aye.
Trustee Christina.
Yes.
Trustee Linden.
Aye.
Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Esser.
Yes.
And it passes.
Be it resolved that the resolution adopted by the Board of Trustees on January 23rd, 2017 regarding the appointment of a clerk 2 at the Street Department is hereby amended to any location of the Village of Fredonia and any hours as needed, and directed by Richard R. St. George, Village Administrator.
A second.
Trustee Rathman.
Aye.
Trustee Christina.
Yes.
Trustee Linden.
Aye.
Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Esser.
Yes.
Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Fredonia desires to override the property tax cap if the village board determines it necessary to do so, to adopt a proper and sustainable budget for the Village of Fredonia for its coming fiscal year commencing June 1st, 2017, which tax cap is set forth in 3C of the General Municipal Law, and whereas proposed local law number 1 of 2017 of the Village of Fredonia in its final form is now upon the desks of the members of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Fredonia, which is entitled, "A Local Law Authorizing a Property Tax Levy in excess of the limit established in General Municipal Law 3C for the village fiscal year commencing June 1st, 2017. And whereas said proposed local law reads as follows, Section 1, title, "This local law shall be entitled a local law authorizing a property tax levy in excess of the limit established in General Municipal Law 3C for the village fiscal year commencing June 1st, 2017. Section 2, legislative intent. It is the intent of this local law to allow the Village of Fredonia to adopt a budget for the fiscal year commencing June 1st, 2017 that requires a real property tax levy in excess of the tax levy limit as defined by the General Municipal Law 3C. Section 3, authority. This local law is adopted pursuant to Subdivision 5 of General Municipal Law 3-C, which expressly authorizes a local government's governing body to override the property tax cap for the coming fiscal year by the adoption of a local law approved by a vote of 60% of said government body. Section 4, tax levy limit override. The Board of Trustees of the Village of Fredonia, County of Chautauqua, is hereby authorized to adopt a budget for the fiscal year commencing June 1st, 2017 that requires a real property tax levy in excess of the amount otherwise prescribed in General Municipal Law 3-C. Section 5, severability. If a court determines that any clause, sentence, paragraph, subdivision, or part of this local law, or the application thereof to any person, firm, or corporation, or circumstance is invalid or unconstitutional, the court's order or judgment shall not affect, impair, or invalidate the remainder of the local law, but shall be confined in its operation to the clause, sentence, paragraph, subdivision of part of this local law, or in its application to the person, individual, firm, or corporation, or circumstance directly involved in the controversy in which such judgment or order shall be rendered. Section 6, effective date. This local law shall take effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State of the State of New York. Now therefore be it resolved that a public hearing be held before this Board of Trustees of the Village of Fredonia on the 10th day of April 2017 at 7:30 p.m. at the Trustees Room, Village Hall, Fredonia, New York, to consider the question of the enactment of said proposed local law. And be it further resolved that the village clerk is hereby authorized to cause notice of said public hearing on said proposed local law to be published in the Observer as required by law.
I second.
Trustee Rockman.
Aye.
Trustee Christina.
Yes.
Trustee Linden.
Aye.
Trustee Jones. Trustee Essek.
Just so that you know, this isn't authorizing us
To raise this.
Right.
Be it resolved that Richard St. George, village clerk, is hereby reappointed Registrar of Vital Statistics for the term of 4 years, beginning January 1st, 2017, and be it further resolved that the mayor is hereby authorized on behalf of the village to sign notification of appointment.
Trustee Rockman. Trustee Christina.
Yes.
Trustee Linden.
Aye.
Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Essek.
Yes. Be it resolved that Linda Larish is hereby reappointed Deputy Registrar of Vital Statistics for a term beginning January 1, 2017 and ending December 31st, 2020, and be it further resolved that the mayor is hereby authorized on behalf of the village to sign the notification of appointment.
Second.
Trustee Rockman.
Aye.
Trustee Christina.
Yes.
Trustee Linden.
Aye.
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Essek.
Yes. Be it resolved that the non-disclosure agreement between the Village of Fredonia and Niagara Mohawk Power Corporation, DBA National Grid, is hereby approved and the mayor is hereby authorized to sign said agreement on behalf of the Village of Fredonia.
I second.
Trustee Rockman.
Aye.
Trustee Christina.
Yes.
Trustee Linden.
Aye.
Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Essek.
Yes.
Whereas John Jack Bowen, Streets Commissioner, Superintendent at the Streets Department, has submitted his resignation for retirement effective October 29, 2016, which resignation was accepted by the Village Board September 26, 2016. Now therefore be it resolved that Jack Boland is rehired effective immediately to work on specific projects as directed by the village administrator at a rate of $35 per hour, not to exceed 40 hours, with no other benefits.
I second.
Trustee Ackman,
Aye.
trustee Christina.
Yes.
Trustee Linden,
Aye.
trustee Jones,
Aye.
trustee Esser.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody has anything else to offer?
Sure. I just want to congratulate the girls' basketball team on their amazing run. Congratulations to them and the coaches and the parents. Everybody they did a great job. Also, the Steelers hockey team won the state championship again, the second year in a row. Phenomenal boys hockey team. And I also would like to say that yeah, props to them, and again, their parents and all the people who support them. I'm very concerned about the closing of another store in our community. J.C. Penney is closing, as we all know. It was in the paper. I feel like this is another blow to the area. It's another place where people work and, you know, make a paycheck and make a living. And it's one of the few places that we have to shop, you know, back to school shopping. Grandparents shop there for their grandchildren. I think it's, I'm very concerned about it. So I don't know if there's anything I can do, but if anybody's interested, I'm going to try to get a petition. I think if we could get anybody who shops there or knows anybody who shops there to sign a petition, I'm going to try to get an online petition. And I think if we can contact maybe some of our local representatives, I don't know if they can do anything. It's probably a done deal, but I feel compelled to do something about this. I know that that is a profitable store. It is not a store that is losing money, and I feel like there's really, it's a disservice to close that in a community where you would have to drive an hour in either direction to go shopping and buy necessities. We don't have many places. So if anybody has any ideas, call me, email me, talk to me. I'm going to try to put some things together and see if there's anything we can do.
Oh, certainly, you know, sign your petition.
Yeah.
Certainly, but we have to find people, a lot of people.
Right, we need
in the
lots of
hundreds,
people, like
in the
hundreds,
thousands, yes.
thousands of people to sign.
To sign this petition.
You know, Fredonia, Brockton, Silver Creek, Westfield, I don't think anybody doesn't go there at some point to shop would sign. I thought maybe we could get an actual petition, a piece of paper and a pencil petition, as well as an online petition, a change.org petition. I'm going to see if I can do that. So,
That's great. We're all concerned about that. I'm not sure if it's going to do anything.
it might not, but I feel like I have to do something.
Sure.
So,
Absolutely. Anybody else? Okay, can I have any?
No, he's he's newest. He gets.
Yeah. Make a motion to adjourn.
Anybody second?
Second.
Trustee Ackman?
Aye.
Trustee Christina?
yes.
Trustee Linden?
Aye.
Trustee Jones?
Aye.
Trustee Esser?
Yes.